Welcome to the Day 1 Notes, Operations on Functions. We will be finding the composition of functions. Alright, do you remember looking at example 1? We have f of x equals 2x, g of x equals x plus 1, and we want to find the following. Alright, so f of negative 3. What we do to solve here is we can begin by substituting in negative 3 for x in the equation of f of x. So what that looks like here is, okay, in my equation of f of x, I have 2 times x, so here that will be 2 times negative 3. Okay, and then I simply solve to get negative 6. Looking at g of 6, alright, going to substitute 6 into the equation of g of x. Alright, so instead of x, I'm going to write 6 plus 1, evaluate to get 7 there. Okay, so what if I have f of g of 2? Well, just like with our order of operations, we're going to work from the inside out here. So the first thing I want to ask myself is, what's g of 2 equal to? And from above, I know the procedure for this now. So g of 2, I'm going to substitute 2 in for x. Okay, so 2 plus 1, I find that g of 2 equals 3. Alright, but here I'm being asked to find f of g of 2. So essentially I'm being asked, what is f of 3? Alright, since g of 2, once again, equals 3. Alright, so f of 3 equals, alright, looking at my equation of f of x, I see 2 times x. So instead of x, I'm going to write 3, using substitution here. Evaluate 2 times 3 to get 6. Alright, so here I get that f of g of 2 equals 6. Now I'm looking at g of f of negative 1, example D. So I'm going to start from the inside and go out again. So here f of negative 1 equals, okay, substitute in negative 1 for x, 2 times negative 1, which is negative 2. So here I want to ask myself, okay, so I'm looking at g of f of negative 1. So I found that f of negative 1 equals negative 2. Oops. Equals negative 2. So I'm going to ask myself, what is g of negative 2? Alright, look at your equation for g of x. For g of negative 2, I'm substituting in negative 2 for x. So I get negative 2 plus 1, which is negative 1. Negative 1 is then equal to g of f of negative 1. Alright, so that would be our answer there. When you evaluate one function, then use that answer to evaluate a second function. You are performing composition of functions. Okay, so that's what we've been doing here as we're going through these notes. Alright, looking at our chart here, our operation once again is composition. Our notation looks like f of g of x. Alright, this is what we saw above in those problems. Another notation that you will see is this. So once again, this still means f of g of x. It's just a different notation. Same meaning, just a different way of writing it. Alright. Take a look at example 2. We have f of x equals 2x minus 3. G of x equals 3x plus 4. We're finding the following, looking at letter A. We have f of g of x, which also can be written as the following. Alright, so whichever notation you prefer, either is acceptable. If the one on the right is more helpful to you, you can certainly use that. So here I'm going to substitute in the equation for g of x in the place of g of x. So what that's going to look like is f of Alright, so once again that's my equation for g of x, just using substitution there. Alright, and now I will be substituting in 3x plus 4 in place of x in the equation of f of x. So this is what it's going to look like. 2 times 3x plus 4 minus 3. So I just took that equation of f of x, and instead of x, I substituted in 3x plus 4. Now I can solve. First going to distribute the 2. Okay, 6x plus 8 minus 3. Evaluate that. Combine like terms. 6x plus 5 is my final answer. And 6x plus 5 is equal to f of g of x. Looking at example B, so here I have g of f of x, which can also be notated as the following. Alright, so here I want to substitute in the equation of f of x for f of x, so what that's going to look like is g of 2x minus 3, just using substitution there. Okay, and now I'm going to take my equation of g and substitute 2x minus 3 in for x. So take a look. 3 times 2x minus 3 plus 4. Okay, so now I can solve by first distributing the 3, combine like terms. Alright, and 6x minus 5 is equal to g of f of x. Alright, so notice here that my answer, okay, for f of g of x is different than my answer for g of f of x. So be sure you're paying attention to the order here in which these functions are stated. It's very important to pay attention because you'll notice we got different solutions there. Pause the video here and try example 3 for yourself. Here are the answers for example 3. Alright, hope that went well for you. If you have any questions, please bring them to class. Thanks.